Good afternoon. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that the work our government carries out is conducted on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, Anishinaabe, Cree, Dakota, Dene, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Our government is going to search the landfill. We're going to put the families first and work with Indigenous leadership in order to do so. Any questions?
Is there a meeting set for later this month? One of the family members was saying March 25th.
Don't know the specific date off the top of my head, but yeah, I believe we're meeting in the next few weeks. Yeah. To engage with the families and Indigenous leadership towards searching the landfill. Yeah.
Does the government have a plan now to start launching this? Are you at that stage?
Well, I'm not at the stage of sharing details with the media. I think it's important to talk to family and talk to Indigenous leadership first.
What is your reaction then to the report that was given to you several weeks ago in January? That's what the holdup has been. That's where we've sort of sat at for many weeks.
Well, I don't know that there's been a holdup.
Well, they put forward this report and nobody's heard your reaction to it.
We've responded in media several times to this issue since that report was tabled, and I'll repeat the same message today, which is to say that we're taking a look at AMC's proposal, and we'll definitely keep it in mind as part of our commitment to searching the landfill at Prairie Green.
Is there still a timeline now for this year? Is that what you're still looking at?
We're not sharing any details here today.
Are there parts of that proposal that the government isn't fully?
I don't know that the headline you're referring to is accurate, by the way, but we can follow up offline. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt.
Are there parts of the AMC's proposal, some of the specific asks, maybe for the infrastructure that are maybe not?
Well, I think in the interests of having a respectful working relationship with Indigenous leadership, I think that this scrum is not the place to share those kind of follow-up steps to their proposal.
Have you made any advancements toward starting the search in the last 6 weeks since you received the
Our government has been working hard since the election to fulfill all of our election commitments. And the specific details about a landfill search are not things that I can talk about today.
Are you any further ahead than you were mid-January? I'm not asking for details, I'm just saying that you're asking us to
Yep.
believe that things are in motion, but there's no evidence of that.
Well, the evidence is that we've delivered on a number of election commitments already, and we'll continue to do so. Well, one of the first things that we did was we apologized for the shameful conduct of the PC election campaign. And we invited families into this building so that we could start to reset the relationship. Activists who stand outside the building have an important role to play, to push our government forward. And our role is different. We're the administration of the province of Manitoba. We put in our work on this side, and the activists and families put in their work. And I believe that when you look back at this historic moment, you will judge that it was part of the process that led to the landfill being searched.
What's the hurdle from preventing the search from going ahead? Is it environmental concerns? Is it asbestos? Is it logistics?
I don't know that there are any hurdles or opportunities that I can talk about at this stage, out of respect for upcoming conversations that we're going to have with families and with Indigenous leadership.
The purpose of this gathering today is what then? I'm kind of trying to understand what we're getting at today that is any new information.
Well, when the Globe and Mail puts in a media request, we respond.
I understand that, and thank you so much for appreciating that we are asking you questions. Well, we're asking questions that are not being answered now, right?
I think I've responded to every single question that's been asked.
The families are saying they're not doing anything different than the past government. Can you answer that question? Why? Is there any
Yeah, and the people who go to rallies have an important role to play. And the role that we have as government is different. The thing that's different from us and the PCs is that we didn't run ads attacking these murder victims. And I understand that emotions run high now because of how this issue was politicized by Heather Stephenson and her administration. And so if there are critical voices, I fully respect that, and I welcome that as part of the ongoing process, which will ultimately see us search the landfill at Prairie Green. Yeah. I would say that we are going to search the landfill at Prairie Green. I don't know that there's been any holdup or that there's been any advancement. It's just a commitment to search the landfill is what I can share with you today.
Is there anything in the budget about this that we're going to see?
Well, you'll have to come on April 2nd to see what's in the budget.
So if there's not necessarily a holdup, not necessarily any hurdles, what has been happening on the fly?
Yeah, I think those are details that I can look forward to sharing with some of our partners on this as we meet in the coming weeks.
Do you think a search, in terms of the physical search around Prairie, will start this year?
I don't know if I can answer questions about timelines, operational details, funding. These are things that we work on, and I think it's important for us to share that work with the folks most directly engaged.
And why can't you, when you say you don't know, because you have spoken to it in the past, and you've provided insights on timelines, hopeful operational.
Have I? I don't know if there's a. Yeah, I don't know.
You said that there's an inaccurate headline about this year.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that your colleague is referring to a specific year-end interview that we did. And I don't know that that laid out a specific timeline so much as talked about aspirations.
So the aspirations that were expressed, as you describe it in that interview, are no longer.
I don't know that I've said that either.
Is there a
It's a real riddle wrapped in an enigma here in terms of the year-end interview.
One occasion that it was your aim to have the search start this year, not months or seasons, but this calendar year. Is that no longer the case?
What is the case right now is I'm thinking a lot about supporting the families. It's going to be a difficult few months upcoming. And we are going to come forward with resources to support the families. We'd like to partner with the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs to ensure that families have the necessary emotional, cultural, spiritual supports during the very, very challenging times that are going to come forward. And so we're prepared to bring $500,000 to the table for AMC to administer if they like. We've shared this idea with them. And these are one of the details that we'd like to work on with them in conjunction with the families to ensure that as the administration of justice continues, where there is a very clear timeline, that the families are supported and they have the necessary resources to be able to honor their loved ones and to be held together by the supports and wrapped around by voices that they trust. So that's one process that I think I can speak about. And of course, on a completely separate track, a humanitarian search of the landfill is going to happen.
$500,000 for what? For AMC to do what?
You want me to repeat the thing I just said? Okay. All right, let me see if I can get into the same emotional space. Once again, you know what I'm talking about here. Have you thought about what the trial is going to be like for the people of Manitoba and for the families? If you consider the answer to that question, then you will begin to comprehend the need for our government to step up with resources to support what is going to be a very difficult period. And we will be there. And I respect that emotions run high because of how this issue has been politicized in the past by the failed PC government. But regardless of whether or not folks are going to, have a certain thing to say about our government or not, we are going to be there for the families. And so emotional, cultural, spiritual supports for transportation costs and the little logistical details that need to be addressed in order to ensure the full participation of families. These are details that we're willing to come to the table with and willing to work on. We're going to be happy to provide these supports. Those conversations have already begun. And so I think that this is something really important, and it's important for you to know too.
Are there items in the report you received in January that you're not willing to consider? Permanent building, some of the equipment set up and plans in that direction?
I don't know that there's any details I'm going to share related to that question.
What kind of confidence should people have in your government when Grand Chief Kathy Merrick shows up and says she doesn't have that confidence in this government to, she's urging people right over there this morning, telling them that, this government is not moving fast enough, this government's not fulfilling its promise that you made to them behind closed doors and in front of other people, are we supposed to still be confident that a search is going to happen?
Yes. No.
Not this year, so we're getting that today, that it might not happen this year.
I'm not saying anything about a timeline, but you just threw a quick little addition to your question there that I wanted to be clear that I was answering a very specific detail, which is we are going to search the landfill. Yeah, and people can have confidence on us to deliver on that.
Where is your government at with respect to negotiations with federal counterparts on funding or other types of support that the federal government may be able to offer?
There's been a lot of so on the support for families through trials. That's something that we're just going to do as a provincial administration. And when it comes to searching the landfill, there's been a lot of work done with the federal government. But the details of that I am not going to share at this juncture.
Will you be able to tell the public where your government is going with the landfill search after this meeting with Kathy later this month? Will you be able to come and give the rest of it?
No. No.
And so what will be the determining factor when you're able to come forward and explain?
When we're ready. When we're ready.
And what will be some of the factors that determine when?
When the various details that I'm not at liberty to share with you today are in a position to move ahead.
Is there a legal hold-up that you're not confident because of?
No. No.
In March of this meeting, is this your government's decision to hold this meeting? All three levels of government?
We're happy to participate. Like, we invited Indigenous leaders in here, including the AMC, along with the families. So we've always been happy to engage. We've always known that the path forward involves bringing leaders of Indigenous nations along with whatever process is going to move ahead, including the trial supports, including the landfill search. And so for us, I think the invitation came from AMC operationally, and so we're happy to join.
So I guess you're referring to the meeting in March. So
Yeah,
it's not necessarily like the province has necessarily something to say. Like you have an update to provide.
we do. We do, and we have had other conversations with AMC on this topic, and so there's been an ongoing engagement, and so we'll continue to talk to them, and we'll continue to work with them and the families, and we'll continue to work with the feds to make sure that the landfill gets searched and that we may not be able to provide a guarantee that this humanitarian mission will be successful, but as we've said all along, we're going to try.
Is frustrated, but she says she has because you're at the Legislature.
100%. I'm very glad she said that. It means that I smoked the pipe with Cambria, and I will never back away from the commitment that I made to her in that moment.
Were you able to, did you watch or did you be able to see the demonstration today from your office?
No, I saw it when we were driving by. We were going to another meeting off-site.
We didn't see any participation from any of the MLAs.
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak to why that was?
I'm not sure. Finalement, pour ajouter en français, notre gouvernement va fouiller le dépotoir et puis nous travaillerons avec les familles et puis les gouvernements des Premières Nations pour avancer ce projet. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.